Hi everybody, welcome to Emmanuel's Promise Farm. This is Saba.
And that's Softa.
We're going to be canning some chicken, y'all.
Alright, you hold on tight now.
Okay everybody, so we are canning chicken for the first time. We started out on Sunday night and we're finishing up. We learned some things which I'll explain to you in just a little bit. So, recap. We have separated our chicken into sections here to be canned, so it makes it a lot quicker to do. There's wings, we've got the breasts, which we're going to freeze those because it's better that way. I think we like to make tenderloins out of that. Some thighs, here's a neck left over because I didn't want to fill my jar too full. And here are what we're going to use again for the stock, for the chicken stock. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show you the chicken stock that we made. This has already came out good. This turned out really good. It sealed very well, no problems with that. Now the chicken that we canned Sunday night, we had a little issue with that because it was the first time and it was late. I was in a hurry. I have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So long story short, I got the heat on there a little too hot too fast. And then I was trying to bring it down. One of the jars broke. And we lost one, but it come across right here. I was able to save that meat. I put it in the refrigerator. But this is the final product. This is your thighs. This turned out pretty good. The question that we had is, some of the meat was up above the seal line. Up above, not the seal line, but up above the water line and the fat line. Not sure if that's good or not. So we may redo these all over again. So this go around, see if you can look at that one right there, you can see some of the meat that's come up over. So we may redo these jars again. So tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack them a little bit differently and I'm going to put them deeper down in. So we've already sterilized our jars. They've been washed in the dishwasher. Then we've got the oven here on 220 to 300. So I'm going to grab a jar out of here. And I'm still working on the chicken legs. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting those in. This time we've cut the legs probably about 2 inches we've cut off so that it'll fit into the jar a little bit better. Again, you're going to put one down and one up, and you're going to alternate that so that they'll fit in the jar a lot better. And this time I won't fill the jar quite as full to leave plenty of room. And so that's good. As you see right there, it's not quite as full, so that's going to be a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and put some very hot water in here. I'm using the Ball recipe book here for the canning. It has also a recipe to make your own broth. You can actually add like carrots and celery and things to that. So that recipe is in there if you want to refer to that. Okay, this is some very hot water here. So I'm just going to fill it to that bottom line. Now I'm going to get the bubbles out. You want to make sure all the bubbles are out, else you have air in the jar and that could cause bacteria. So you want to make sure you get all that out. You want to make sure your jars are clean and sterile. You know, you could keep them in the oven to keep them warm. The meat is room temperature and obviously raw. So that's the way it goes in. Okay? Now that I've got all the bubbles out, I'm going to go ahead and clean the top of this with a paper towel. You want to make sure there's no stickiness on that lid, else the lid won't stick. Back here I've got my burner. Oh, I had it on 3. I've turned it down a little bit because it looked like it was getting a little too warm. The rubber seal on here, you want to make sure that that's warm so that it takes effect. But you also want it in the hot water to prevent any germs. I'm going to tighten this hand tight and just a tad bit more. You don't want it too tight, but you want it so that it doesn't work its way off as your canner is going up to pressure and building up. In the pressure canner here, I've got, if you will look in, I've got this much water in there. It's a little less than halfway full. I'm going to go ahead, once I get all the jars in, I'm going to put my top on. I'll put a 10-pound weight for our area. You'll have to go by the Blue Ball book as far as what area you live in and your sea level to determine what the pound of pressure that you need. So once you put the canner on there and it gets up to speed, you're going to make sure that steam comes out of the top of this for at least 10 minutes. And then after that, you're going to put this on, and we'll go over that at another time. So right now, we're going to pause, and we're going to get the rest of our chicken loaded. So I wanted to show you, as far as the pressure canner, earlier we showed you how much water was in there. So when you load your jars in, see how much the water level has come up? So you don't want to put too much water to start with. And on this pressure canner here, there's a V here and a V there, or an arrow. So that's how you're going to line it up. A lot of times, you know, you're not really shown this part on videos. So you're going to line those up and just fix it to where it fits, and then you're going to push it together. Now, I've got this on about 6.5. I'm going to turn it up to maybe 8 for right now. What we're going to look for, and I'm going to move this because the steam from this water that I was using to put in the chickens, the hot water, I won't be able to see my steam coming out of the top here. So let me put this down for now because I want to show you. This is a jiggler. Once the steam starts coming out of this, you're going to get your pressure built up in the pot. You want steam to come out of this hole for about 10 minutes, and then you're going to put your jiggler on. Okay, once you put your jiggler on after that 10 minutes, this button right here will, when it comes to proper pressure, this button's going to rise up. You do not start your time until this starts jiggling like this. Once it comes to pressure, you don't start your time until then. So when it tells you a task like this takes a certain amount of time, you got to take into consideration the time it takes for this thing to get hot and to get up to pressure before your time even starts. Not only that, but once the 1.5 hours is done, then you turn your heat off. Then you're going to gently move this over off the heat, and that's the key, gently. You don't want to jiggle that too much in there and mess with the pressure there. And you will not touch this until that button, your pressure button, goes back down on its own. Don't ever try to take the pressure off by just doing it on your own. Just leave it and let it go. Once this button goes down, at the end, after the 1.5 hours is complete, once the button goes back down, then you wait 10 minutes and then you can take your jiggler off. Then after you take your jiggler off, you're going to wait another 10 minutes before you take this lid off. These things are very important so that the pressure begins to go down so that you don't injure yourself. And also after that, so that's another 1 hour and 30 minutes to do that. We got to wait till we can even start our time. But at the end, then you got to wait those 10 minutes and 10 minutes until you can take the lid off. When you take this lid off, make sure that you're standing back, and when you turn your lid, you open it out so that the steam goes this way. Never open it towards you or you're going to burn yourself. And then after the lid comes off, there's another 10 minutes you have to wait before you can even take your jars out of the water. And then what you want to do is you want to have a towel, have this little towel here, or you can get a bath towel, something you put on your countertop, and then put your jars on that after that 10 minutes after the top's off. Then you gently put them on that towel and do not touch them for 24 hours. They'll begin to seal themselves. Sometimes they'll even begin sealing themselves once the top comes off. And for 24 hours, don't touch them. Then after that 24 hours, make sure that they're all sealed, and then you can wash them and then store them. And your food should last a good year probably. So that's about it for now. I mean, we can show you those little steps possibly if you want to hang around, or we can do another video on it. So we're going to pause for now. So it is 6:52, and this has just started to get the steam here. I don't know if you can see it from the camera. Maybe you can, hopefully. But anyway, so I'm going to start my timer for 10 minutes. And then after that, then I'll be able to put the jiggler on. And then I'll be adjusting my temperature, because the jiggler, you don't want it to be too loud, and that only comes by doing it for a while. I mean, I've canned other things. I've canned green beans, greens, peas, corn, zucchini, all kinds of things, but this is the first time that we've canned chicken. So we appreciate you hanging in there with us and watching. So it's getting down to the wire here. You can really see the steam coming out now, and you see the pressure button. It's getting ready to pop up. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go ahead and put this jiggler on because I want to show you. Because the temperature, I have it on 7. This is a glass top stove. Actually, you're really not supposed to can on a glass top stove, but that's what I have, and I didn't know that at the time when we got this stove. But anyway, it works. I've canned on it. We've lived here for about 5 years. I've canned all kinds of vegetables on it. So it is what it is. So now I wait until the jiggler starts jiggling. See, you can see the buttons up now. That means this pot is definitely under pressure. You would not want to open this lid. It would be a very big hazard if you were to open this lid at this time. So now the pressure will continue to build, and this will start to jiggle. And then once it starts to jiggle, remember, that's when your time starts, your hour and 30 minutes for raw packed chicken. We'll be back. It's jiggler time. Okay, so the jiggler just started. It is now 7:15. So you have to really, really plan your time. You have to have a lot of time to do this. You see. So anyway, we're going to start our hour and 30 minutes. So that's going to be, okay. So we're going to just wait, and I'll monitor this. It's now, if you look at my dial here, it's on 8. I had to turn it up a little bit because it seemed like it was taking forever for the jiggler to start, to make that noise. And I'm going to monitor it. If it starts going a little too fast, I'm gonna go ahead and bring it down. Usually the good spot is somewhere between 7 and 8, or way up here near the 7. It just depends. You're just going to have to kind of listen out for it. But that's pretty good right there. Our time has started. We don't want it to go too fast. Safety tips: always make sure that you've got your hands washed and clean. Make sure your surfaces are clean. Make sure your chicken, when you after you process it, and if you do that outside and you rinse it off, you bring it inside and you wash it really, really good several times. Cleanliness is safety. Make sure your jars are sterilized. They're hot. When you put your lids on, clean those good. Make sure your rubber lids are warm, not too hot, but warm enough to seal. Make sure, see that the pressure's on right there. Do not touch this lid till you're finished and you turn your time's over. You turn that off and let that pressure go down. You wait 10 minutes, take the jiggler off, wait 10 more minutes, and then you can take the lid off. Open it away from you. Safety tip, away from you. So all that takes time, and then you wait 10 more minutes and you can take your jars out. So it's all about safety and canning for yourself. Oh, and why are we canning in the first place? Because I have to have room in my freezer for my ice cream. Thanks for watching Emmanuel's Promise Farm.